Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Hello and welcome to Apex Racing TV and the Radical Racing Challenge Strength of Field Race week at Red Bull Ring Circuit. My name is Sam Fitzpatrick, alongside me is Sebastian Boscher-Williams. Jamie Fluke is once again broadcasting on Apex Racing TV, and Seb, very happy to have you alongside me tonight. We have got these Radical SR10s, a fairly new car to the service, and the Red Bull Ring, which we have got used to a fair amount more, but I think it should be quite a good circuit this for the drivers to get used to this new car. We've had a lot of very tricky circuits like Virginia and Sebring so far. This track, a few less corners to learn, and I think we should see a bit more of a competitive field.
I think we should. Good evening, Sam. Good evening, everybody at home. Yeah, I mean, the Red Bull Ring, I mean, it's provided such great racing, you know, in Formula 1, Formula 2 at the weekend, and I think, as you said, it's going to provide great racing here in the Radical series. It's such a technical track. It's deceptively tricky. If you look at, you know, a map of the circuit, you'll think, well, it's, you know, it's fairly easy. It's got some fairly simple corners, but it's so complex to get a decent lap time, especially in these Radical cars. They're so light and they've got so much power behind them that you're going to have to be so delicate on the throttle, especially as we see Kane Halliburton coming out of turn 3, one of the biggest traction zones on the circuit. It's going to be so difficult to consistently get that traction right. It's going to be an absolutely fascinating race, and I cannot wait to be a part of the Radical Racing Challenge. I've been a viewer of it for many weeks now, and I cannot wait to be in the commentary box for this one.
Have you had a chance to give this SR10 a spin?
Weeks ago now, I think I did a Road Atlanta race, and it didn't necessarily go to plan. My right foot is a little bit too heavy to control. So was it like 450 horsepower? Crazy statistics. One of my favorite facts was that we were running quicker than GT3 lap times around the Road Atlanta circuit in a car that shouldn't really be competing. It's got no traction control, no ABS. So yeah, it's not necessarily a car for my skill set. I'm more at the Skip Barber level at the moment. But Halliburton there, Sam, went wide at the final corner. We know that track limits were an issue in Formula 1, Formula 2, and proving like it's going to be a little bit of an issue, at least in qualifying here tonight.
Yeah, and he quickly bailed before the start-finish line there, so he could tow you back to the pits, and he will still have one more lap to go. But he made a mistake last time, did Kane. Didn't get pole position as far as I can recall, and he's putting himself at risk once again tonight. More currently at the top of the standings as Passavente, a new driver to the strength of field split. He has a bit of a sprint plenty high enough iRacing though, and we have got a competitive field tonight because we had 3 splits of the drivers sign up, which is yeah, really good to see. Quite so many drivers take part. I think 57 drivers overall signing up for this strength of field race here at Red Bull Ring, as many of the drivers not getting their first lap in due to a mistake due to picking up a 1x. So expect that board to get a lot more names on it. Only half the drivers so far have set an eligible lap time, and we are just a few minutes away from the second set of times coming across, and these are usually the slightly stronger laps, particularly around a circuit like this where you have got to be careful about track limits. On the second lap, you can throw caution to the wind a bit more.
You make a really interesting point of the way that you sort of set up your qualifying lap. You always do sort of a slow lap at your first attempt, but bank a lap, as it were. Just get that lap time in, and then on your second lap, you can push a little bit more, push the braking zones, maybe brake sort of 5 or 10 meters later than you did the lap previously. Try and carry a few miles an hour extra through the corner. It's such a skill to qualify well, and you'll see that some drivers are maybe more attuned to the 1 lap pace, and then don't have the ability to consistently lap over a race distance, or some drivers that aren't very quick in qualifying but come through the field in the race. It's such a different discipline, and it's always fascinating to see who can master both and who can sort of get the balance of who's a good race driver and a good qualifier. At the moment though, Nathan Moore at the top of the timing stands, and Halliburton, who made that mistake on lap 1, don't see him out at the moment. I might be a little bit mistaken, but I can't see him on the timing stands.
He's just at, well, he's not on the timing tower at the moment, but he is about halfway through his final lap. Here we go. And yeah, this score will be big for Halliburton. It looks strong at the moment for him. Of course, Halliburton, absolute legend of the Radical SR8 previously, and has very much adapted well to the SR10. He is the man to beat. He is really strong at the moment. As the drivers are crossing the line for their final lap, a few drivers going to pop up on the screen here. What can Metalsec do? He moves up to P4. Where is Halliburton? He is approaching the line at the moment, and he's just coming around the final corner. In fact, is Halliburton going to improve? I think that was a slow final sector for Halliburton. The seed number 1, has he done enough? It's only P10 for Kane Halliburton. There was a mistake involved. Kane Halliburton, only P10, 7/10 of a second off. Now, I would go as far as saying he's probably still the favourite for this race win, honestly, because it's so competitive at the top. No one else stands out, but as Muller moves up to P3. But that is quite a shock, and it does leave the man who has dominated so far this season a lot of work to do this evening here at the Red Bull Ring. Mikhail Atmaka in 14th position. He is the seed number 4. He should be higher than this, should Mikhail. Can he put himself up a few positions? This is the last lap we are going to see, and it seems like it was not an eligible lap time, or it was an out lap. Either way, he does not have enough time to get round the circuit to complete this next lap. So Atmaka stand in 14th place. We've got a very jumbled up field tonight, Seb.
Certainly have. I mean, the great stat that I can see on the timing stands at the moment is we have to go all the way down to 12th place to find somebody outside of a second of our leader, just to show how close this field is. I think that was outside of track limits there for Medema. I don't think this lap time was going to count anyway. I think he's doing more than the recommended dose of laps, but that won't count for anything on the timing stands, as Rodriguez, I think, is our final driver who might be able to set any form of competitive lap times. He comes across the line where you can see at the bottom of the screen he sets a 1 minute 26.7, so not quicker than his original best lap time, so he's not going to improve his position on the grid as all the cars disappear off the circuit, and that is your grid. But you mentioned the jumbled up grid, Sam. It's going to be so crucial to make these overtakes stick during the race. It is possible to overtake around the Red Bull Ring, but it certainly isn't as easy as the drivers would like.
Yes. So yeah, will be should be a fun one. This one, I think. Whilst on the other races, maybe we've had a good idea who's going to come out on top. Not sure this time. Nathan Moore, though, is on pole position ahead of Oscar Pesavento. Yeah, first race. We've seen him in this broadcast, Oscar, so really good job from the Italian driver. It's Muller, Rodriguez, Metalsec, Laplanche, Medema, Hallums, Barnes, Halliburton lines up in P10. Then it's Blanco Cheyenne Najam in 12th place. Then it's Ruben Valdez, Mikel Atmaka, Marcus Putniks, Ethan Lawrence, Pedro Temelandri, Corey Preston, and Marek Ortlovs. The 19th seed in 19th position did not set a lap time there. Do you think we've got a risk of maybe draft trains in this race, Seb? This has got long straights, does this circuit. Do you think the draft effect might be strong enough to keep these guys bunched up?
I think so, and I think that, you know, if you're at the head of that train, any minor mistake is going to see you drop, you know, 2, 3, even 4 positions. It's going to be a really tactical race, and, you know, I always sort of use the analogy, it's going to be like a NASCAR race. It's going to be who's in second place on the last lap in a train. It's probably going to be leading at the end of the final lap, if that makes any sort of sense. A quick note on Corey Preston, he's the 15th seed, down in 18th place. He didn't qualify, he had a spin, and he got disqualified. As the lights are about to go out, Sam.
Yeah, here we go then. At the Red Bull Ring, we are launching away more from the pole position. Good start for Muller, poor start for Pesavento from the front row of the grid. I think he's going to drop down straight away right now. Oh, we've got a spin there. That is Russell Buzz. I think he started up in P8. However, he is quickly dropping down the order and is right at the back of the field absolutely immediately. So it's more leading the way ahead of Muller, Rodriguez, Pesavento and Laplanche in the top 5 at the moment.
So Halliburton up to 7th place. He's made up 3 positions from the start. We have a look at our 2nd place man. Disastrous start from him, and I think he just got too much wheel spin at the start, dropped the clutch too quickly, and down the order he falls. He'll have to do a lot of work if he wants to reach the heights that he managed to do in qualifying as we head through turn 4 at the moment. There's a spin in the background. Who is that dropping down? That's at Maka, I think. Sorry, that's Corey Preston. He spun in qualifying, as I mentioned. Now has spun in the race. He's got to find some form of reverse gear. And if you, oh, he's going to hit the wall if he's not careful there.
Yeah, this is, we have no faster pairs in this official series, remember, and so that is his competitive race most likely done. And so the biggest gainers, Ethan Lawrence up 7 places so far in this event, just taking advantage of all those incidents. And you can see he's not even that far away from the race lead. It's epic stuff from the British driver so far, who is only the 18th seed, barely got into this top split, but making full use of it right now. And as Halliburton's just got past Laplanche just ahead, there he goes past the car number 7. So Halliburton, I still think, is the favourite for this race when he is making good progress at the moment, as it's getting very close for the lead. Muller only 0.2 of a second behind the race leader.
I mean, he's going to allow Moore to take the defensive line, force him to the inside, and hopefully get the switch back. But he needs to be careful. Rodriguez is in the slipstream as well. Any mistake that Muller makes, Rodriguez is going to be there to pick up any pieces as we head towards turn 4. One of the best overtaking opportunities. Muller now pulls to the outside. They're side by side. We have a look at Nathan Moore. A little bit of a lock up there, and Moore is now past. Sorry, I get a little bit confused here. So we have Nathan Moore still in the lead. Muller's 2nd place. They're side by side as we head into turn 5. And they all just back out, so nothing going on there. Good start from the pack so far. But what I'm really, really enjoying about this is that, you know, Sam, we've had a few incidents, of course. We saw some things at the start, but the racing has just been super clean, and they're still really close in the draft.
And this is sort of what we've been missing so far this season. I mean, no doubt I do like this car, and the drivers have very much talked positively about this car. However, we have had a very spread out field so far this season. I mean, Virginia, the drivers were very far away from one another. Sebring, we had some good midfield battles, but nothing at the front. This is what we want to see in the Radical Racing Challenge. The top 9 all in a queue right now, and it's going to just reignite again here. Moore's going to have to cover the inside heading into Remus if he's going to keep the lead, because if he doesn't, there's going to be a move from Muller, who does look to the inside but decides to do nothing there. So still the car number 10 staying in 2nd place, however made a slight mistake on exit, and that's Ruben Rodriguez, very experienced driver in this championship, who has won a race previously in the strength of field. He is trying to get past. In fact, though, just flashes the lights. He doesn't want to get past right now. I think he's trying to work with Muller to keep tabs with Moore up ahead.
Yeah, it certainly is. As we just watch the cars come through turn 6, one of the best corners on the track in my opinion. So easy to get up onto the curb on the outside, even touch the gravel if you're not careful. This is Atamaka down the order. He has not had a good start as we have a look. Yeah, see, you can actually see him sort of running a little bit wide through there. Sam, sorry, I think I'm having a few technical difficulties. We have Ortlovs now, the number 19 car. What's going to happen to him? Is this going to be a little bit of a spin into turn 4? No, just a little bit of a lockup. So easy to do in the radical cars. Across the gravel he goes. Has to do very well to control the slide. I think he's going to make it back onto the track, but a huge time loss. And you can't afford to do that, can you, at all, in a sprint race, because there's no ability to sort of gain that time. It's not like an endurance race where you have that option to.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and yeah, even when you got an out long race, you can sort of half recover from instance like that. But you're absolutely right. In these proper sprint races, there's absolutely no chance of coming back whatsoever. Yeah, still we have more leading the way at the moment, as we may have a couple of issues, so you may see on the replay here. However, it's still pretty much the race, so we'll still pretty much commentate as normal. Still leading the way though. Muller ahead of Rodriguez, Pesavento, Halliburton rounding out the top 5 at the moment, and still long queues, but everyone biding their time at the moment, knowing that you don't want to battle too much, otherwise you're going to lose time to the drivers ahead, and so just hesitating until they go for a move later on. Quick shout out actually to one of our sponsors, Apex Racing Academy, for sponsoring this broadcast on Apex Racing TV and very much helping us out on Apex Racing TV. Apex Racing Academy offering 29 different data packs, those data packs including chat guides, group coaching sessions, and setups, of course, for a variety of cars, rallycross cars, single-seaters, prototypes, and all of that. So do check out ApexRacingAC.com in order to get a bronze, silver or gold membership, and that will give you access to pretty much everything you need to get faster on iRacing.
Who doesn't need to have any tips on how to go faster on iRacing is Ruben Rodriguez. He set the fastest lap last time by 1 minute 25.04. He was 4 thousandths of a second quicker than Julius Muller in second place. Presavento in 4th isn't really able to do anything about catching the front pack. He's actually matching Rodriguez's time. Halliburton, and usually 4 tenths off the pace for him in 5th. Not been Halliburton's race whatsoever so far. He's going to need a mega sort of change of fortunes if he wants to be leading or even closer to leading this race. Everybody though just finding their feet at the moment. Certainly Matusek in the background, he's sort of away from the train of the field. He's sort of almost a lap down now, but everybody else very close in this sort of lead pack. Super close racing out there at the moment. Nathan Moore though, still your leader, but Julius Muller, Ruben Rodriguez and Ossa Presavento all setting very, very similar lap times. And actually, as I say that, Sam Halliburton crosses the line just 1 minute 25.08. Not the fastest lap time, but was 5 tenths quicker than everybody else ahead of him. So we are in for an absolutely mega race. As we actually see Halliburton on screen, we are back to live pictures, making a move round the outside of the number 8 car. Presavento, he's going to go from second. He dropped down at the start, and he's going to drop another place now, and that's Halliburton now up into P5.
Yeah, he is he's looking strong right now, it's Halliburton. And Moore has not been able to get away despite the battling between, Muller and Rodriguez. I think the two of them have worked with each other just about enough, being sympathetic enough to one another, that Moore has not been able to get away. And yeah, Halliburton still, despite the teamwork, still just outlapping them. He is such a quick driver, is Kane, and he is right on the tail of them now. Najam going defensive against Valdez. These guys are only 7 seconds off the lead, which is surprising considering that we're 5.5 laps into this race. But Najam, both these guys up 2 places so far in this event, and yeah, holding on to that position for now. They're 2 seconds behind Hallums just up the road.
Get Poot next at the moment, the 17 car chasing down Barnes in the number 12 car. Very wide though, through the final corner, turn 10 here. Actually, the number 4 car at Maka proves the point and goes a little bit wider. Off tracks, I think, are going to start to become an issue for the drivers. You might have to start tactically using them, sort of gaining a better run out through turn 10 if you think you've got an opportunity to overtake into turn 1. It's not necessarily legal, but these are the drivers at the level that will use any form of advantage they can to gain an extra half a tenth or so. As we've regained our lead battle, Sam, it looks like Muller now under pressure from Rodriguez behind, more starting to create a gap, and there's this massive gaggle of cars behind him. It almost feels like Muller is the corking the bottle at the moment. Rodriguez, Halliburton, Presavento, even... Sorry, it's Presavento. I thought Laplanche was in the picture as well, but he's a little bit outside, but he could sort of close up to this pack. But Muller just needs to stay there if you're more. But I think that this battle is going to get more tense, more frantic, and hopefully not deadly as I sort of foresee it coming if it continues like this.
Yeah, this is mega close right now. And it's kind of getting a bit tricky now for Rodriguez, who's been very much trying to work with Muller this entire race, so staying behind Muller so that they don't lose time to more up ahead. But now that he's got Halliburton behind him, it kind of becomes a question, well, if I'm going to win this race, I've got to keep Halliburton behind me, but obviously that's going to be very tricky to do if I'm not making a move on Muller. So Rodriguez in between a rock and a hard place right now. He needs to probably start moving his way through the field, as that's a mistake for Muller. Didn't lose too much time, just ran a little bit wide, but you can see how Moore now actually pulling away down the straights, and Muller is under big pressure, and this is when Moore can start to pull away potentially. Will Muller back out of this one? Halliburton looking to the inside as well. He's trying to pick the best route possible, the long way round there for Rodriguez. He's going to get the better exit, and I think that will be enough to move him up into P2. Good effort there from Rodriguez. He was patient and picks up on the mistake from Muller when it occurred.
Yeah, I actually thought that Rodriguez had a better sort of run out of the corner than Moore, but Rodriguez just didn't have it. He's now falling down the order side by side with Halliburton. Muller might be looking at falling off the podium. He started the lap in second place. Halliburton, though, just backs out as we head into turn 6. Muller has a little bit of a look on the inside of Rodriguez, no way through there, and that's now put him again on the back foot. Muller just isn't able to place the car where he needs it to. Moore, though, very wide through turn 7 and 8. As we have a look at a replay, this is Russell Barnes. What's going to happen to him? He's getting past the number 14 car, so this is Barnes and Rafael Blanco side by side, and Russell Barnes just deep under braking, simply just had more ability to get the car slowed down. And Russell Barnes now up into 12th place. He's lost 3 positions in this race, but the recovery drive going well for Russell Barnes at the moment.
Yes, good effort there from Barnes. He's only down 3rd place, so yeah, really good driving from him, and that was a good overtake, as you were saying before. Rodriguez all over the back of Moore here. Surely he will go for this move pretty much as soon as he can, because Halliburton is closing in behind, and here comes Halliburton. We saw this outside line work very well on the previous lap for Rodriguez. This time Halliburton's not given quite enough space, and he has to stay behind Muller, and Halliburton likes to use the lights at the best of times. I'm sure he's going to be using the lights on Muller after that slightly controversial defensive maneuver. Still, Muller is staying ahead, and this is opening up the gap to the top 2 now. 1 second off the lead as Muller. That's as far off the lead as he's been for the entire race, and Halliburton realises that he has to get past. The good news now, I guess, for Kane is that Muller will have less of a draft to the cars ahead, so might be a bit more vulnerable down the next straight.
Yeah, but Halliburton can see the race slipping away from him at every corner. He can just see more Rodriguez and just sort of run away with the race. He needs to get past Muller, but Muller just knows where to place the car. He knows where to defend. He knows where he's quicker than Halliburton. It's a great battle out there. Well, it's a great battle if you're us, the viewers, less so if you are Halliburton in 4th place. Having a look there at Maka, he's also got past Blanco, so now Barnes and Maka both up past Blanco, so he's now down in 14th place as we rejoin the battle for the lead. Through turn 1 we go. That's a little bit wide there from Nathan Moore. He used too much of the outside curb. It arrested the slide and it killed the speed, and this is the best opportunity we've seen, and Moore under attack now. Rodriguez to the inside.
This looks like it's going to be a done deal, but Moore is actually much later on the brakes and might get a better exit if he can square up the corner sooner. They're fairly even, but it is Moore edging slightly ahead. He should just about be fully ahead by the time they get halfway down the straight. I think you're right, Halliburton and Muller, that is getting personal. They've already been racing against each other for quite a while here. Muller on the inside trying to defend that move for the second time through turn 4. Contact again, they're just constantly budging into one another, and that was always going to happen eventually. They weren't leaving each other enough space, and eventually it is off the circuit for Muller. That was Vettel Raikkonen-esque from a couple of years ago, and Halliburton with a lot of catching up to do to win this race.
So much catching up, and amazingly Halliburton got away from that rather unscathed, just lost a little bit of time. Don't know if he's got any damage, but it was really Muller that came off the worst in that regard, down in 11th place now, and not quite sure what transpired between the two drivers there, and this might actually give us a little bit of an insight. So we head into turn 4. They're side by side. They leave each other just enough room on the exit, and it just seems like now it's just getting personal. You have to say that from that angle, it looks like Halliburton moved across on Muller a little bit more than Muller was sort of squeezing Halliburton to the inside. But Martin Brundle's got many quotes, but one of my favourites is it's six of one, half a dozen of another, and I think they both need to take responsibilities. Again, we see Moore and Rodriguez battling it out into turn 3. Moore really liking the outside line, gives him a better launch off the corner, forces Rodriguez to the inside, pinches in. It means that he can't get on the throttle as early, and Presavento at the moment is a dark horse in this race. He could still win this if Moore and Rodriguez slow each other up anymore. We could be seeing Oscar Presavento in his first ever race in the Radical Racing Challenge lead a race.
Yeah, that would be absolutely mega for the Italian. We've got some absolutely terrific drivers who have never won a race, and he might do it on his first attempt. Halliburton, though, catching up on that last lap. Well, he lost a second, to be fair, because of the contact, but on this lap at least, he has been closing in significantly. This was at Maka, who's been very quick so far in this race. However, that did not help his cause. That was with the car number 9 of Cheyenne Najam, who we've seen have a long battle with, I believe it was Barnes, or another driver, apologies, earlier on. But yeah, he has now been sent down the order. Bad news for him. Meanwhile, Moore still out in the lead, managed to get that lead back, of course, on the previous lap. But, I mean, you absolutely called it right earlier on, Seb. If you are leading, you are a sitting duck, seemingly. And this passing is costing them so much time because it's just bringing Halliburton right back into play. He's making up car lengths under braking, heading into turn 3. And once again, it's the outside line coming out of turn 2, which is so advantageous. And this time it's Rodriguez, who looks like he's going to be leading, heading into Schlossgold on this lap 12 of the race.
Yeah, surprised that Moore let Rodriguez take his favoured outside line. Moore now coming under pressure from Pesavento in 3rd place. And watch for Halliburton, he's in the mix as well. All of this fighting has brought him back into play. He's been off in the gravel only a few laps ago, but he's battling it out for a win. They're 2 by 2 as they head into turn 6, but the order remains the same. Rodriguez, Moore, Pesavento, and then Halliburton in 4th place. Halliburton, no, and they said a few laps ago that Pesavento was the dark horse, but that's changed to Halliburton. Halliburton has a look up on the inside. It will be dangerous if he wants to do it into turn 9. It is possible, but it certainly isn't easy. But Halliburton makes it look easy. Halliburton now up into the podium places off the track, but he won't mind. Through the final corner we go. Halliburton's got such a good chance to make this win possible now. As we have a look at the number 19 car, Marek Ortlovs coming into turn 4. We've already seen him have one drama today, and I think it's going to be a case of just too much speed into the apex of the corner. The rear tyres say, "What are you doing, mate? I don't really fancy that." And around the car goes, but this battle is absolutely insane. Halliburton already setting up Nathan Moore. What a race this is, and we've still got 4 laps almost of this to go.
Definitely race of the season so far. Hopefully we have a suitable finish. But yeah, Rodriguez getting those few car lengths, that is absolutely massive for him. Even though he did actually lose a fair amount of time in Sector 1, maybe that was because of the draft, as Halliburton's so much quicker. Honestly, that was just a very slow corner there for Moore, really struggling seemingly through Schlossgold. That might be his sort of weakness on this circuit. Seemed to not even get a good exit after taking very little corner speed. And so, yeah, nothing working for him at the moment. Julius Müller, who was racing with those drivers earlier on, he's in P9. after his off ahead of Valdez in P10 has recently made that move, as Muller, I think that was on the previous lap, that he was able to get past. And I mean, we go back to really near the back of the field, honestly, and back in there in 15th place, but pretty much all in the same portion of the circuit. Great to see the competitiveness tonight being so strong as Halliburton realises that the time is ticking down. 3 laps to go. He has to get past surely on this lap if he's going to win this race.
Surely he has to. It's race critical. If there was a race engineer, he'd be screaming in his ear, you need to get past. And Moore once again favours the outside line. Halliburton's going to have it all to do on the inside. He's already side by side before we've even got anywhere near the braking zone of turn 3. Halliburton to the inside. He's got this move well and truly done. He could even squeeze Moore to the outside, but he doesn't feel the need to. Moore dropping down the order. He was in first a few laps ago. Third is his current position. And I think Pesavento behind him will be lapping at the chops to get past Moore up into third place. At Maka, we've seen the difficulties he's had. He's had such pace, just not the luck. But he's up against the number 17, Radical. He's going to go side by side down into turn 4. We've seen moves here and not advantageous for both drivers, but Maka just doing exactly what he needs to do. Late on the brakes, got it slowed down, neat and tidy. He's up into 13th place. Najam up ahead, I think having a little bit of a disconnection issue. That'll be a little bit of an incentive there to Maka to try and get back up into 12th place. And that Flange in 5th place at the moment. He's had a quiet race, but he's had one of the best possible seats in the entire grid to watch the battle up ahead of him unfold. The only thing that he'll be disappointed at is that he couldn't just quite get into that battle himself.
Yeah, he's waiting for an apocalypse between the top 4 in order to maybe take this race win. We've seen crazier things happen on Apex Racing TV in the past. Down to 0.6 of a second now. The gap between the 2 leaders, and Pesavento is now trying to get past Moore, who, remember, took pole position, did Moore, has been very strong in the other strength of field races this season. Not quite the fastest driver tonight. Just doesn't quite seem to have it all his own way. He's competitive, he's consistent as always, but seems to be only the 4th or 5th fastest driver this evening. Still really putting everything out there and trying to maximise that result, and at least might hold on to a podium. He has kept behind Pesavento heading into turn 4 this time round, as Muller continues to close in on Hallams. This could be close by the end of the race. Also Najam being caught by both Atmaka, Putnieks and Blanco. I think Atmaka and Atmaka has got past Putnieks and Blanco on the past couple of laps, and now is trying to make this move as well on Najam, and he has done that in style round the outside through Rauch corner, and he's up to 12th place. Good recovery from Mikhail.
That's the first successful move I've ever seen at turn 6. Hats off to Atmaka. You have my undeserving undying. He has my respect, basically. That was incredible. Great driving, great car control. Now we're on the final lap of the race. The white flag is flying. What can Halliburton do? He's closer under braking, but he just didn't get the exit he would have needed. Rodriguez absolutely in the best place possible right now. The gap is 0.6 of a second. That's a little bit too far to gain any sort of benefits. It's all going to come down to who has a better turn 3. Watch out for Moore as well in the background as well. Pesavento as well. This could go any which way, and that's why we absolutely adore races like this, Sam. This could go, as I said, any way. We could be seeing even lap launch win if these all come together in the final few corners.
Yeah, it was a massive slide for Halliburton through turn 1, and I think that has probably ended any chance that he had. Rodriguez has been error-free, and that is surely going to be enough for him to take the race win, as we see Hallams go defensive against Muller, and I think Muller's going to try to make this one round the outside here. Could we see a second move into Rauch corner? I think we are about to, just leaving the apex ever so slightly, but Hallams left a generous amount of space on the inside. Still they move alongside through Worth corner, and this may not be over because that's going to be a poor exit for him. However, Rodriguez out of the lead. He won at Road America a couple of seasons ago. He's going to get another race win here. Ruben Rodriguez for Team Fordzilla crosses the line at Red Bull Ring to take the race win, and what an impressive race win it was from 4th place on the grid. Halliburton couldn't complete the comeback. Moore was in 3rd position, Pesavento in 4th. Lawrence up 10 places to gain a bunch of iRacing in 6th place. And Hallums was able to hold off Muller in the end. It's also close between Najam, who beat Putniex and Blanco. The three of them separated by just 0.2 of a second at the line. I think Najam may have been got had the race been 1 lap longer. And Seb, well, that was a good race to introduce you to the Radical SR10, because that's definitely the best race we've had so far this season.
Well, I absolutely loved every single second of it. It just wants to make me jump in the car and drive it myself. And unfortunately, I don't think I'm quite at the level of these guys on the grid. Absolutely incredible pace shown by all of them up and down the field as we see Ortlov's come across the line. He hasn't had the race that he would have wanted. He is, though, up 2 positions from where he started. Of course, he didn't qualify, and he's just sort of out-survived Matusek, who comes across the line in 18th place, and Preston, who crashed out on lap 1. But Ortlov's did a good job. It's just about getting those laps in, getting that experience in. But what a race. And can I come back, please? Because that was really good.
Well, there's a certain South African who would not like that. So maybe have a chat with him. I'm not sure how you could convince him, but no.
I can see why. That was absolutely incredible. And these cars just lend themselves so well to close racing.
Yeah, it's really good. I mean, we've seen it this season in the midfield, but good to see finally like a proper lead battle. It was Ruben Rodriguez who won out. I think that might be Rodriguez's... No, he has taken part in other strength of field races so far this season, but really getting on top of the car, it seems, this week. Halliburton seemed like he was the fastest driver, but he started down in P10. He actually made his way up to P4 fairly quick, but then struggled to get past Moore, and also had the contact as well with Muller, and then wasn't a perfect final couple of laps, which denied him a chance to catch up to Rodriguez. So Rodriguez with the win, Halliburton 2nd place, Moore in 3rd, holding off Pesavento. Hopefully we see more of the Italian later on this season. Then it's lap launch. Lawrence, who gained loads of places. You can see that car number 18 gains probably like 60 odd iRacing for that. Then it was Medema, Hallums, Muller after the contact. Think where he could have been. He was very quick tonight. Muller could have got a podium maybe. Ruben Valdez was in 10th place. Then it was at Matka, Najam, Putniex, Blanco, Temelandri, Ortlovs, Barnes, Metalsek, and Preston. By the way, Lawrence won 71 iRacing, so we should see more of him in the top split. That will help him gain qualifying for the rest of the season. So okay, so Seb, this is a great series. One problem with this series is no one likes chatting with us. No one comes to have an interview for some sort of reason. So we will hold on for a few minutes to give an opportunity for that one. Yeah, we can look forward to the for the rest of the schedule as well for this championship, because this is an official series championship, so it'll be going on for a fair few more weeks to complete the season. And we've already been to a couple of tight twisty circuits so far, but next up, so we head to Summit Point, which is sort of a tight twisty circuit, but at the same time it's like really high speed. Of course, you got that kind of penultimate straight and the front straight, which is casually extremely long and a lots of flat out sections. So I don't know really how to describe that circuit. It's sort of a club level circuit, but at the same time it feels a bit like Monza.
I think it's a scary club level circuit. I certainly wouldn't like to be driving a car around there for the first time. It's deceptively tricky, and you know everybody knows it from their sort of their master days in rookies. But it's got so much more to offer than that. It's got some super difficult corners and some really challenging sort of late apex corners that you can have multiple lines through, and that really just sort of it promotes overtaking and switchback opportunities. And then you're right, you've got that long straight and a really high speed entry to that straight. The final corner is so difficult to get the best run through. So I think we're going to see lots of mistakes sort of leading to drivers dropping down the field like we did at the Red Bull Ring today. But I think it's a track that sort of everybody knows because they did it in rookies, but not many people have driven it, you know, for years. So I think it's going to throw up some surprises, and I always love when series go to Summit Point because it's sort of a back to basics race with a twist, and it always delivers.
Yes, yeah, I think it's going to be a good one is Summit Points. Jamie, I think we can have a chat with you. We have discussed this on previous broadcasts, so we've prepared for the lack of interviews. What did you think about that? What did you think about that race?
Hello, hello. Yeah, I think I've got this working. Hold on, give me just this quick second. Sorry, just give me a little
We
bit more time.
we don't quite have the setting, but we you will hear from very good driver, James Blake, in just a few moments. But yeah, so I mean, what do you think about like the slipstream model in this car as well, in the raceability? Because from what I've seen and from what I've raced, it hasn't seemed to be that strong so far. But it seemed like tonight it was almost overwhelming. I mean, I feel like if we get to circuits like Spa and Monza, it's going to be like you said earlier on, like a NASCAR race.
I think it really is. To be honest, it surprised me how effective the slipstream was. I knew it was going to be powerful just because of the circuit layout, and I think everybody's sort of running a little bit higher downforce than you maybe would at another sort of track with long straights, just because you've got such a difficult middle section. But you know. The final race of the season is at the Nordschleife, and that's got a super long straight. That's going to be where the slipstream is going to come into its own. I think it's going to depend on sort of track circuits. I think if you get to Monza where you think, oh, it's going to be super slipstream heavy, and then it's not because everybody's trimmed out the car so much that it's basically a T-tray on wheels. That it doesn't really work that way. So I think the Red Bull Ring is sort of a perfect dynamic between long straights with challenging corners getting onto those straights, but also you need a little bit more downforce so the slipstream is just that little bit more effective.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, the Nordschleife, as you point out, which is I guess you don't know Seb exactly, but every season we finish at the Nordschleife. It's like a community thing where it's like the one thing that is the same on the schedule every single season. Bar like 2 seasons ago, where I think randomly it was like week 11 or something for some reason, but every season pretty much it's the Nürburgring kind of Nordschleife circuit, which is run in week 12. We've had it at nights in the past, and that is going to be absolutely mega, so much fun in whatever you drive, obviously. But the Radical is a particularly good combination for that one. Any other circuits that kind of jump out to you, Seb, in terms of the other circuits that we're visiting? Because I mean, for me at least. Suzuka, best circuit in the world. That one is the one that stands out to me. But any others which look good on the calendar?
You've taken the words right out of my mouth. Instantly fixated on Suzuka. It's such a good track, and I mean, it's iconic and once again always provides really good racing. You have to look at the IGP Fun Formula 3 series that we did a few weeks ago, delivered so much around Suzuka, and I'm sure the Radicals will do exactly the same. Hockenheim as well, week 10, another amazing track with that long straight with the hairpin. You always see good action there. And what I love about Hockenheim is you can race out of the hairpin down to the Mercedes arena. So, it's not like, say at Red Bull when a Red Bull Ring that you can sort of make the move and then you can you have that sort of middle section to sort of get out of the slipstream. You really are stuck in Hockenheim, so it promotes good racing. And then, of course, week 11, my favourite or personal favourite track, Alton Park. It's just such a standout circuit. I absolutely adore Alton Park, and any race car around there I will drive. And these Radicals are just a perfect match for Alton Park. It's the right sort of circuit. It might not provide the most enjoyment for racing, but it will be so fun to drive.
Yeah, it's a drive. Yeah, Alton Park is so good. And it's with no chicane. So I mean that's like the best chance you've got at some overtakes. So good to see the community rating that one. Alton Park we visit almost every season. It's a free circuit, so I think people do like to visit it as much as possible. Jamie, I think we have got you now. I said a few minutes ago. What did you think of the race? What did you think of the race?
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty good, interesting one. Um, Really interesting about the slipstream because we seen last week at Sebring that it was fairly difficult to make moves. Still possible, but definitely doable. Um, but yeah, no, this was a really exciting one. It was interesting to see how Halliburton would work his way forward. Um, Surprised that he couldn't get the last few positions. I thought he had it in hand, but yeah, didn't yeah, yeah, a fun race to watch for sure.
Do you think? Sorry, Seb, you go ahead.
Sorry, Sam, I want to jump in here. Jamie, of course, we saw that incident between Halliburton and Muller. We only got to see it quickly on the broadcast. Do you have any sort of thoughts about that? Who would you put at fault, or is it just a simple racing incident?
Ooh, I don't believe in racing incident. Sorry, I'm actually hearing myself back. This is a little bit weird, but yeah, I'm not a big believer in racing incidents. There's usually always someone at fault. It looked like Halliburton came off from the curb, and like Muller wasn't given a lot of space, but Halliburton still had room to stay on the track. So I'm gonna pin it on Halliburton for like trying to like force Muller to take a more traditional racing line through what is turn 5, and yeah, I mean it's not an awful lot in it, but like once two cars like combine like that within iRacing, especially like a wheel-to-wheel contact where it's front to rear, the outcome's usually more severe than what it could be sometimes. So I'll probably pin on Halliburton, but it looked probably worse than what it was.
That's really interesting. I think at commentary at the time, I called it more on Muller, so really interesting to have a different perspective. And yeah, I like your sentiment about nothing's a racing incident, and especially as a driver, it's such an important idea that actually you need to analyze every incident that you have and try and sort of assign blame and take that responsibility to become a better driver, if that makes sense.
Oh, whoops, sorry. Yeah, absolutely. So, ultimately, yeah, that's how I've sort of worked my way through things. Always take responsibility for what you actually have control over. It's it's one way to make sure that you like don't have so many excuses whenever you go out on tracks. Like, well, if I do everything that I should, then I should get a good result. And if something bad happens, you can always sort of analyze and say, well, okay, could I have actually done something different there? Or, there's always a lot of ways to, see where you could do better. So, in this case, with Halliburton and Muller specifically, like nobody's done anything too egregious, I would say. They were fighting very, very hard, but I don't think space wasn't given. So, yeah, ultimately, it didn't work out for Muller. Halliburton still got a good result out of it. I'm not sure if those two will be best friends after it, but it didn't look, terrible on either end. I'd weight it slightly on Halliburton, but there we go.
Thank you very much, Jamie, for your insight. Really fascinating, that, Sam. Always good to get like a pro driver perspective on the incident, and it just goes to show that whenever you have an incident like this, there's always sort of two sides to the story, and especially when it's sort of 50-50 or almost 50-50, that many people are going to draw their own conclusions from an incident.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's important to note as well, like, it's sort of been boiling over a few corners previous because I think they'd made contact a couple of times. I think in that scenario, yeah, you're going to leave each other a little bit less room each time. And it was sort of maybe not totally inevitable. Maybe if the move had been completed by Halliburton and he got up the road a bit, then maybe they would have avoided contact. But the more they went alongside, you felt like it was exponentially increasing the chances of contact. So yeah, it was a tight one. I'm just curious, Jamie. Actually, it's slightly off topic, but like you were saying before about reflecting on like your mistakes. Of course, you've gone up against many of like pro drivers. When I think of like the F1 guys, they seem to never take responsibility for any incident. Would you say that is sort of the attitude amongst most of the pro guys, or would you say kind of being reflective on that is fairly mandatory in order to get to a high level?
I don't think it's mandatory to get to a high level. A lot of people can get to a high level without really ever displaying much racecraft. They just have raw speed to take them so far. But I think to be like one of the absolute best, there's got to be some element of self-reflection there, so that you can actually learn and improve, especially if you are making mistakes. And that's not necessarily with racecraft things, like that could be handling yourself under pressure, like in qualifying, for example, if you find that you're not qualifying well. but you know that you've got good speed, then you've got to diagnose why. So, like all of the best drivers I find, like are very good. They're mentally so strong that they can also like put mistakes behind them, learn from them, and move forward. And I feel like as well, like for the absolute top level, the guys that stand out versus the guys who would maybe sometimes struggle at the top level. It's not necessarily their raw speed that lets them down, it's their ability to manage the pressure of top level competition, their ability to stay calm under pressure, to make the right decisions when it matters, and performing closer to their best as well when it matters. So yes, there's an element of like self-reflection there, but those that are just like generally mentally strong are the ones that tend to rise to the top.
That is interesting. Yeah, good, because as you say, like, yeah, you can get to the top with barely any race car, but yeah, like does still help to be reflected in all those elements in sim racing and real life racing as well. I think that's we've given the drivers some time to come and have a chat with us. Unfortunately, they haven't. But once again, if you drive in this series, come and have a chat with us. As long as you're top split, you can come and have a chat with us. You can do, heck, if you do no laps in qualifying and no laps in the race, we'll still let you in. I mean, you'll be at the bottom of our priority list, but you will most likely still get an interview. So do make sure to join the Discord after the race. There's a link to the Apex Racing TV Discord in the description below. Click on that, join, and then after each race, whether it's this event or any other event, you can sit in the interview waiting area. Make sure that your name is correct. It's not like your Discord name, it's like your proper name, so we can identify you, and then we'll drag you up after the race is complete. But yes, that is pretty much all we have for you tonight. Of course, big thanks to Virtual Racing School, to SDK Gaming, and to Apex Racing Academy for sponsoring this series. Their links are in the description below. If you have enjoyed this broadcast, please do leave a like on it. Also, check out our all our future broadcasts coming up. We've got the 3.5 coming up a little bit later on. That will involve Seb on that one as well. So yeah, watch that. Also, IGP Fun tomorrow. Spec Racer Ford as well. We've got our first round of the Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup Championship, 60 cars at Hockenheim National A. You do not want to miss that. That is on Wednesday evening, and loads of other action on Apex Racing TV. So do make sure to subscribe to the channel, and also check out our social media pages as well on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. But for now, from myself, Sam Fitzpatrick, from Seb Boscher Williams, and from Jamie Fluke, we are going to say goodbye, and we'll see you back next time, Summit Point. See you then.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.